Hey, everybody, welcome to Staffing Stories. Not Staffing Stories. Tuesdays at 2. We're going to talk about staffing stories. Rob is off this week, which is why I'm doing a poor job of introing, but I've got Andy in his place. Hey,
You
Andy.
did a great job plugging my podcast.
We're going to talk about it. That's why we're here. Actually, why we're here is to talk about planning for 2024. And I think you're the perfect guy to talk about that. Maybe introduce yourself a little bit for the people that haven't seen you or haven't seen the podcast yet. Andy is co-founder or founder of 3D-IQ, has his staffing, also has a staffing company, has a podcast that's great that we'll talk about a little bit. Usually this is part of the part of the show where Rob insults whatever I'm wearing or comments on my choice of shirt. So feel free to add that in.
Hey,
if you want.
You always look sharp. You look good in plaid. That's always the best.
No, thank you. I appreciate that. It's nice to have some kind words at this part of the show. Yeah. Well, so Andy, tell us, just give us the quick rundown of your background.
25 years in the industry. I've had my own staffing agency, about 17 of that, primarily focused on engineering, technical, and professional. That we do a little bit of skilled trades all the way up through a little bit of IT. So we cover the gambit. And then I also founded 3D-IQ with you.
That's right. Yeah, that's we go back, I guess, at this point. So today, though, we're going to talk about planning for 2024. And this is something that I think you're in the middle of or in the thick of right now on the staffing side, right?
Yes, it is planning season. And if you're out there, you're probably either preparing to do that, either get away with some of your staff, or you're bringing them in, or you're just kind of preparing for that. So that's kind of where we're at.
Yeah, and that's I think this is the part or the time of year where a lot of companies, a lot of staffing companies like yours are looking back on maybe the goals that they've set. How do they do? Where are they as far as benchmarking? Yep. And then trying to figure out what are we going to try to improve on next year, and how are we going to keep the business moving forward. So with that in mind, let's start maybe with looking backwards. What do you think as far as maybe goals that a lot of companies set last year? How do you think they're thinking this year, or how are you thinking about the goals that you set for last year?
I think this year right now, looking back, we had to work 20 to 30% harder to get where we're at. And talking, the fun thing about doing a podcast with talking to other owners is you really get to get a feel for their business as well as yours. And you hear this sentiment, it's like, man, we worked hard this year. Recruiters had to do an extra amount of recruiting, sales, a little bit harder to maybe find those opportunities. So it was a tough year for that. And, buckle up for next year. I mean, there is a slowing in the market. I think we all feel it. I don't know if anybody really knows when it's going to really either hit the skids or hold off. But I do think we feel it coming.
Yeah. So do you think, you've been, you talk with a lot of other owners throughout the year. We've been to Engage, been to ASA this year. Is that the general consensus? I mean, do you think the way that you're feeling right now is kind of how everybody else feels?
Yeah, I think it's the political front of this is out there that kind of makes everything a little bit uneasy. We're in a lot of conflicts, and how's that going to affect our business? I think election year is always a tough year historically. I think we all know that. So how, is that a double whammy on top of some of the things that we're seeing? But where I'm focusing on when I look back is, my recruiters. In the years past, a below average or average recruiter could make a lot of money. This coming year, man, you've got to really be a good recruiter from all fronts. Get back to the basics, what we call blocking and tackling. So my company is focused on pouring into those recruiters and getting them to be better, longer in the seat, and how can we cut the curve of that experience.
Yeah, and I guess along with that is that the market, the labor market, even for recruiters, right, is a little bit tighter than it's been in the past, and so so we've got to focus on improving and growth and helping the talent that we have get better, right, or be more efficient, or any number of things, right.
A lot of the efficiencies and inefficiencies that we face in our industry is massive. I think there's a lot of waste, and I think it's sometimes in downtimes you kind of pull the belt buckle a little tighter, and you try to figure out, okay, what's working and what's not working. In our business, we call stop starts. What do we stop doing and what do we start doing? We always evaluate everything we do in the year. Is it working or not? If it's not working, stop it. If you want to try something, start it and just see. But doing a stop start review for us is a great way to start planning.
Okay, so you've mentioned or touched on a little bit that we're going to have to talk about evaluating or training employees for next year. Mm-hmm. Making people produce more, I guess. What about sales? Do you think, are you seeing next year as a year where you're really going to have to get out there and pound the pavement and bring in new business?
Sales, I would say in 2022 and even halfway through this year, everybody's looking for people. I think you could be a below average salesperson and walk away with requirements. But this coming year, you're going to have to work to pull good recs as well as just get some good business. I think there are certain sectors that are better than others. I think the IT tech sector, software sector is going to be hit hard. There's been a ton of companies shedding talent. There's two sides to that. I'll circle back around with that. But and I know engineering, mechanical, electrical, they cannot find enough talent. So that's a hot market for us. Skilled trades, everybody's looking for skilled trades. The hard part is finding the talent for that. So I think manufacturing is still trying to catch up from 2020 with the pandemic. So that's still going good. I think there's pockets of the country that are stronger than others. I think the Southeast in particular is hotbed for manufacturing and engineering. And so it's doing great. West Coast maybe feeling a little bit of the tech sector slowdown.
Yeah. Okay. Let's talk then maybe about the third leg of the stool, which is your tools or things that you're looking for, technologies maybe in the next year. Is this a buying year? Is this a evaluation year coming up? What do you see? What sorts of tech, I think, do you think are going to make an impact next year? Maybe is the simple question.
I think there's some great tech out there. And if you love tech, I'm an optimist here. I'm going to say this and I'll try to explain it. I think now is a great time to buy some tech because you could probably get it at a great price. And I say that owning a software company, I should be shooting myself by saying this, but there is so much out there and it's been priced so high over the past years that it's almost become unaffordable. When you go to the marketplace, there's 10 things you'd love to have, but you can't afford it. But I think right now, if you saw some things that you wanted, you could probably get a great deal, even maybe month to month, quarter to quarter, to build your tech stack. I think automation is a must-have. I think that's something that if you're going to have to work 50% harder to get sales and recruiting this year, automate everything you can. And that's not taking away from the recruiters. That's actually assisting them because there's so much they do in touches and just follow-ups that you can automate it. But I think right now is a perfect time to try to get those buying discounts and, add to your stack. And but I would evaluate if you have things in your stack right now to evaluate what's working, what's not. Is there some retraining that needs to happen? We've added some new recruiters. We didn't put them through training. I think right now is the time to get that to sharpen the axe.
Yeah, and maybe there's going to be a greater focus on tools that are going to really make an impact. And you mentioned automation specifically. I think just speaking personally, there's a big opportunity to make automation really work for you. Yep. And make sure that when you're creating automations, or maybe in the context of Bullhorn Automation, you've bought it over the last year or two, but you haven't really gotten it going to where you need it to go. This is an opportunity not to cut it out of your tech stack, but to really focus on making it work for you. Yeah. And that's that's been top of mind for us, as we've talked about. I think it'll in the last couple episodes of Tuesdays at 2, is that we're really focused on making tools for automation at 3D-IQ that affect the bottom line and that impact the bottom line, and that are something that can be running constantly, right? Mm-hmm. And not and then just producing extra opportunities, extra revenue, without a lot of work on the front end, because I think people are trying to do more with less right now, and that's going to be really important, and also just working with those other tools, right? So having things that work with the tools that you already have, so that you're not going out and creating this brand new or adding on a bunch more, right?
Well, there's some habits that if you've been in staffing for a long time, that you did probably in early on, is skill market, grab talent, and try to find jobs for them. I think 2024 is going to take us back to the blocking and tackling of how our industry should be, to where you should not wait to get a requirement. You should take talent to the clients, because everybody's looking for people. They may not want to sign an agreement. That's fine, but they will sign an agreement if you put talent in front of them under their nose. So that we focus here at 3D-IQ a little bit on this skill marketing, where we're doing a lot of automation with it, to where in the past, skill marketing has been very labor intensive. We have to get the resume, create it, takes us off other jobs. With us, we automate all that. You can have one marketing person grab the talent that your recruiters have found, that put them on a tear sheet, and we take it from there. So there's a lot of things that, automation will help that, to where it's been cumbersome in the past, and now we can take care of it with clicks. But also, like, you go back to your comment about, evaluating the automation tool, and don't get rid of it, just make it run better. Here at 3D-IQ, we can help companies do that. I mean, we're very good with that. We have an expert in it with Rob Mann. I mean, he understands that tool. If you need help with that, we'll be happy to talk to you about it and see if we can make it better.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be the key, right? Is potentially is also engaging with people that are sort of can help you forward in putting all of these things together. And that's something that maybe just occurred to me, is that over the last couple of years, a lot of companies that we've talked to have brought on a lot of new tech, and it seems like sometimes it's just like you've got your tech room and it's just really disorganized. Yeah. And it's time to maybe organize that room, give it a little feng shui, put everything together, put the right pieces in the right place.
Yeah. Tech cannot make up for bad habits. So don't think you can just buy some technology and make your way through it. If you have bad habits, you're running in the wrong direction, tech is not going to help that. So there are individuals out there that can, right now I would evaluate that and make sure you're good on that part before you either get rid of tech or you add more to it. But I'm all for, now's the time to try things. You could probably get some of these try for, a month or two, try before you buy. I mean, perfect time to negotiate.
Yep. Yeah, let's talk very quick. We like to keep this, under 15 minutes, but 20 minutes, let's say. So
Okay.
we've talked a little bit about what we see next year, what you see next year as far as the economy goes. And whether or not we're coming into a slowdown. There's the complications with always with an election year and just general uncertainty there, regardless of what the politics are, right?
Yeah.
And so do you see, if I had to make you give me a one sentence answer, what do you see the economy for the staffing industry looking like in 2024?
I would say my opinion is we're not going to see a crash. It's going to be like running through mud a little bit. We're going to get there, but it's just going to take more effort. I don't see it destroying everything. I just think it's going to be tougher to run.
Yep. Yeah. And I hope, and I think maybe I'm starting to see this a little bit as some of that uncertainty or anxiety maybe is starting to work itself out a little bit, but it still feels like it's there. Okay, and let's talk about Staffing Stories then real quick. So this is your podcast. We've been doing it for over a year now, and about 40 plus episodes in. And you talk to other staffing leaders, other staffing owners in particular, and it's been really great. I really enjoy every episode, and you talk about a lot of this kind of stuff, right?
Yeah, I mean, I have absolutely loved this. This was kind of one of those things like I just want to talk to people. Yeah, I want to find out their story. I want to find out what makes them tick. How they get in this industry. Why do they stay in this industry? Get advice for the young, I guess the younger ones, me being 50, being at 25 years, there's people now coming in. What would you tell them? And advice. So if you're young in your career, listen to it because you're going to be soaking it up from some of the best and brightest. I'm always looking for great guests. I've got a great lineup coming up. I think it's always interesting to me if you're, a supplier to the tech industry, you're a tech, C-level, sales level, recruiter level. If you just love the industry, I want to talk to you, but it's so much fun to peel back and let these individuals get their guard down a little bit and really get to see, who they are. And that's the feedback that I've been given is it's kind of fun to sit there and get asked questions.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I really like about it is I think you do a really good job of getting people's guard down and having them and just kind of being in a conversation like you would if the cameras were off, right? And that's what it really feels like. And I've really appreciated the range of different industries and different people and different backgrounds and experiences you've had in it. And then there's always something new in every episode. There's always a really neat nuggets that come out of it that are unique to everybody. And so it's been a great podcast so far. And I know you've got a lot of great guests lined up. So
I try to keep them all between 15 and 20 minutes. So you can literally listen to it and drive into work or home. I'm one of those that I like shorter podcasts rather than ones that are 2 or 3 hours. I just want to grab nuggets and go. So if you like podcasts like that, listen to us. And if you want to watch us, go to YouTube. But
watch us on YouTube.
Yeah. I have a face for radio.
LinkedIn, Apple Music, Spotify, wherever you find podcasts, you can find Staffing Stories.
And seriously, if you want to be on it, message me. I'm pretty available on LinkedIn all the time. So would love to talk to you.
All right, Andy, thanks for standing in. Rob confirmed in the chat that my shirt looks good, so I'm feeling good. Feel like we had a good time today, and I appreciate you being on.
I would love to be back. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. All right, everybody. See you next Tuesday.